make out people in the audience.
So where
Hey,
do I,
Michael,
Hey, George.
where do I
I
look?
thought they were having a meeting in the big room.
no, they're having
Okay,
that public
so-
informational meeting about the solar farm down at the community center.
Oh, okay.
So with
Uh-oh,
you, we have a,
I think I lost it. Oh,
Well, I
shoot.
would have called you if I wasn't gonna come. I mean.
no, I know you would have.
I think I lost it. I don't know if I can get Kathy back up here or not.
Was she on?
I don't know. I didn't see her. Nick said it was all set to go. I'm just like, Nick set it all up because monitoring. Yeah, I don't know where it is. I don't know where he has it set. Because I don't see anything that says meeting owl.
Go to Z,
Huh?
go to Z.
Z?
Yeah, it's Zoom, right?
Yeah.
Oh,
I don't see any Z there.
no.
Well, it might be that Kathy doesn't get on. Does anybody have a phone that has a audio? I don't.
I
My,
don't
my
know.
phone is dead. I don't even hardly use it. I don't want anybody to call me. I'm just like, oh, no, I don't know where it is. I lost it.
Okay, well, we'll,
You want me to call her though?
uh,
I can call her from the phone out in the other room. I
yeah.
just don't.
And tell her what though?
I'm
that we
just gonna
lost her.
tell her that I lost the link. I don't know where it is because I don't know how Nick gets on here.
Didn't we get a text with a link on it or email with a link on it?
Yeah, we did. The problem is
But that's
we lost
not
it at
it.
our end. Through that device right there, the so-called owl.
Where is Zoom meeting?
Yeah, I suppose calling her and
So we should be, I can see me, but I don't see where to let people in.
start.
Yeah,
I did do the start already. Upcoming, it says we're being recorded.
Why don't you click on comp meeting and see what that does?
No, because we're already started.
it says Kathy, the Zoom link is right here.
Well, it's
Yeah.
recording,
It is recording.
so I'm guessing she's not on.
I know, I don't.
She would show up on that left-hand side.
She should show up, I know. I would like to minimize this. All right, here we
Oh,
go,
she's on the
Kathy
waiting room.
Wall. There we go. Are you there, Kathy? I don't know if Nick tested this.
There she is. She's muted.
Not anymore.
Very good.
Nice
you.
job, Mary.
Yeah, thank you.
A little excitement.
Yeah,
We thought we had lost.
we
you.
worked it out.
You only can hope that you lost me.
Oh, we can't lose you, Kathy. You're the glue.
I don't think so. I don't think so. Okay.
So let's get started. In terms of taking notes, Pat was going to take notes this time, but he's obviously not here. So I will fill in and then we'll resume at the next meeting. And so we're just gonna be continuing our discussion of the recommendations in the plan regarding surface water quality and the lakes. And you all should have received the revised table.
We did.
um,
I did.
And
Yeah.
with
Do you have a copy?
the
It's got 5 columns.
implementation.
I did not, I don't think I have one.
Really? Do you want me
Yeah.
to email it to you right now?
Go right ahead.
I'll scan it in and just send it to your email.
Yeah, I probably sent it out about a week after our last meeting, Kathy.
You know, I think I don't know. I don't want to speak out of turn. I think I may have gotten it. And then the screw up may be on my end.
Well, Mary will take care of it.
I couldn't print it on my computer,
Oh, you know what?
but I printed it on my,
Oh, wait a minute. I
Mine
got the
said-
prompt.
let me use your phone and I can do it on your phone. And I go, really?
I got it. I got it. Tell Mary not to send it because I got it.
Hey, Mary. Kathy found it.
I heard it, but it was already going off send. And now she has it twice.
So this has some of the implementation status based on our last time we reviewed this completed. Although it's probably not current. And then it also, I added the column for the town officials or official responsible for implementation.
Right.
And so I don't know if there are any questions about any of that. But or comments about that. This is more to everybody's liking, more usable. Or if anything else is needed. Hearing nothing.
Honestly, I had not reviewed it, George, so I'm just going down through
Oh,
it
okay.
now. I
Well,
just
why don't
had,
I give
So
her-
am I. I am as well. But I want to say that I think that it hasn't changed a lot from the last time we looked it over, has it? Other than the new columns that you added?
Right, and plus I completed from the plan who was assigned each individual task.
Yes, right. Right.
So the actual recommendations haven't changed, obviously. It's just the 2 added columns.
Aren't they meeting tonight about the subdivision ordinance?
so they're meeting tonight about a proposal that's come forward to the town of Belgrade
Oh,
First.
about the solar farms.
solar farm.
Actually, it hasn't come to the town of Belgrade.
Actually,
It's-
we got the intent to file today.
Oh, is that right?
Yes, we did.
Okay, so there'll be a brouhaha over whether or not,
Yeah, we
It
got the
falls under
intent
the-
to file.
yeah.
Yeah.
The meeting tonight, though, down at the rec center is actually part of their requirement for applying to DEP for a permit under the site location development law.
Yeah.
I was thinking it also had something to do with the commercial development ordinance, did it not?
No, not tonight. Last night at the select board meeting, the moratorium was extended till May 4th, I believe.
Yeah, I read that this morning. Okay, well, as usual, I'm a dollar late and a penny short, so
Wow, you're so out of touch, Kathy.
I know. Ask
Don't
me if
you
it
wanna-
bothers me.
Don't you want to come back to town government?
I don't think so. I think I have my hands full with what I'm doing. Thank you very much.
One thing-
But it's nice that you would welcome me back anyway. At
You
least
would.
you would, Mary.
I would.
You don't think
I
that-
appreciate you.
You don't think others would, Kathy? Or all others
You
would?
realize at this stage of the game, if I came back, you'd have almost an entirely female select board.
Yes.
So, I guess the next step for us, and as in the past, is to, decide, how we want to proceed. If we just want to take them in order, we want to prioritize some, those that we want to proceed on, who do we need to invite to future meetings to get the information we need? I'm fine with just taking them in order because they're all sort of,
Yeah.
some
Let's-
of them are very closely related. So there's a bunch
Right.
that have to do with sort of infrastructure kind of stuff like roads and storm drains. And then there's a
Right.
bunch that have to do with, upgrade the ordinances, which I know a fair amount just because of being on the planning board. And then there some other miscellaneous ones in here. We could kind of group them and deal with, let's see.
I think
So,
one of the things when we went through them the first time, George, was that maybe it was just because it was new, but the discussions frequently took more time than we thought they should. And part of that was that things came up to be discussed that we had not anticipated. But like I say, that may be simply because it was the first time around.
Well, there's always that possibility, I think, for any of those that happen. But probably less so now, since would be our second time through these.
Maybe so. I
And
think about,
although a fair amount of time has lapsed.
Yeah.
Last go around with the library seemed to take a longer amount of time, but it may have been because we had just gotten off the rather wild discussions with Ernie Rice about full-time versus part-time librarians.
Um,
So,
Yeah, there's no accounting for stuff like that.
yeah,
So one possibility would be to lump the numbers 1, 2, and 3 together, because those all have to do with town maintenance of infrastructure. And then lump 4, 8, 9, and 13 and 15 together, because they all have to do with development of upgrading of ordinances to deal better with phosphorus and stormwater runoff or buffers. And then the others are sort of catch as catch can.
all right, now say that again.
Let's go
One-
through it from, yeah.
1, 2,
Yeah,
3.
so one possibility would be to lump 1, 2, and 3 together as for discussion, and probably we would need Anthony for that. Since they all have to do with town infrastructure. And then have another group that deals with upgrades of ordinances. For phosphorus, stormwater,
Okay, so
buffers.
4,
Which are
So 4, 8, 9. 13, have I missed any? 15.
it was
I think we
storm-
had, did we have Peter Rushton for that?
You mean originally? I don't
I
recall,
don't recall.
possibly. A number of them fall to, the responsibility falls on the planning board.
Right, and I think we did have Peter come and visit with us.
Um,
It would be nice to go back and do an addendum on the shoreline zoning ordinance, where last year they decided not to include areas within 75 feet of perennial streams and vegetation buffer.
right.
It'd be nice
The,
nice to revisit that and give it another shot.
yeah, realistically, even if I mean, the majority of the planning board, that was a decision of the majority of the planning board, which I was not a part of, but with all that the board has on its plate, finishing, between now and Christmas, it'll be nothing but the subdivision ordinance. After the holidays, it'll be nothing but the solar farms, wind farms, and telecommunication tower.
Okay,
So it would
But I don't
be a
see,
while out.
I know, and I don't see all of that getting done before the moratorium, maybe individual ones. But if they're going to town meeting, they would have to be done
Long before.
by
the board.
January 19th, I think was the date that I put out there. That
For
would
the
be the,
subdivision, but I assume the other stuff will go to a special town meeting.
I don't
Or
know. We'll have to extend the moratorium if we want to wait, because we're not budgeting right now. We already have so many elections budgeted for. We're not budgeting for extra. I
Okay,
mean,
well, that's a
so
question for Anthony
if
and
that's
select board, I
if
guess,
that's
but-
the thought process, that has not been
Yeah.
communicated.
No, all that is an assumption on my part without
Right.
knowing a single bit of information.
Right, because your school
And
board
watch
it's
does.
yourself, George. Watch yourself. That's
Isn't there a saying, a proverb about assumption? I can't repeat it in here, but
Yeah,
yeah,
I'm
makes an ass out of you and
well.
me, right?
you got it, you got
Yes. I don't
So-
mind repeating it. I'm sitting at home.
it.
What we could do is, at our December meeting, we could take up 1, 2, and 3 and invite Anthony.
Are we going to meet in December?
Well,
I'm booked out and I'm gonna bow out right now.
okay.
Because
well,
we have
let's-
so
let's
many
just-
budget meetings coming up in December that,
Okay. Well, I actually had a question about that too.
I would like
I
to
just wanted to
skip
raise with
to-
everybody, because traditionally, a lot of times we don't meet December.
right,
And I realized, it would be, we're jumping all around here, but that's okay. December 15th, we're getting close to the holidays.
yeah.
And, some people travel. We're definitely not, but.
Yeah, and I didn't mean to jump ahead, but you threw it out there and just like,
Yeah,
well,
no,
better tell
it's a
him now.
It's a consideration. So, Michael, you and Kathy, what do you guys think? Do you think we should take a break in December and resume our work in January?
I agree.
You do? How about you,
Well-
Kathy?
You guys go right ahead and do that. I'm gonna be working right through December until up to the holiday, but my other capacity. And I start, just so you know, I go back to school on I think the 18th of January. So I'll be tied up for January, February.
Yeah. And our meeting in January would be on the 19th.
Yeah,
So you wouldn't be able to make that meeting.
I might be able to make it. I might be able to make it because that may be before the homework starts.
Okay, all right, well, we'll
course,
play that by ear.
You never
but-
know. We'll play it by
Yeah.
ear.
Harry, if I can ask, what are you going to school for?
Well, I'm finishing off I started it a while back, but I'm finishing off my certificate in fundraising.
Oh,
Nice.
I know, not everybody cares, but
It's a dirty job, but somebody's gotta do it, Kathy.
well, that's
Uh.
the deal, isn't it? You know, it's like, and if I'm going to do the job, I might as well finish off the certificate and actually
Right.
have people think that I'm certified to do it correctly. It may or may not be true.
It's all about the perception.
It's
Yeah.
all about perception, and it may or may not be true. I don't know. But anyway,
Well-
it's been dangling over my head for a number of years. So it's
Yeah.
time to finish it off.
Well, let's do this. Let's not meet in December. Our next meeting will be January 19th.
Okay.
And there's another reason that may make sense. And I was gonna ask Pat about this. Pat and Anthony have been trying to organize a meeting. And I brought this up a while back, but nothing ever happened. Between the 3 town boards that have responsibilities related to water quality. Us,
Right.
the planning board and the Lakes Committee with and have Seven Lakes Alliance and the Lake Associations present the watershed management plans for Great Pond, the work that's been done to date on Long Pond, and I guess one has been done for Salmon McGrath. And probably more than that in terms of an agenda, but and myself, Peter Rushton as chair of the planning board, Anthony and Pat, they were attempting to set up a meeting this week or next. It isn't gonna be this week.
No.
And I
And
don't
next
know.
week, I doubt it. It's
Yeah.
Thanksgiving
Right,
week.
yeah, so maybe the week after, I don't know. It was supposed to happen at the end of this month and
Right.
I don't know, it seems like things fall through the cracks, but to kind of plan the meeting. It's tough to have a meeting when you can't even get together to plan the meeting, but
Yeah.
and not because of Pat, I don't believe. I don't know what the issue is, but because Pat's tried his best. And maybe Peter, I think, was gone for a week deer hunting, so maybe that was the
He was
problem.
deer hunting, yes.
So, as an all, so here's a little story, seeing how we digress already all over the place. When I first started work at DEP, you could not get anything done in friggin' November because everybody
Was
was
hunting.
deer hunting. Everybody took their vacations in November. Everybody was out deer hunting. Forget it if you had a deadline, because the legislature, of course, starts in January. You're screwed. You know, the excuse you gave was, well, everybody was deer hunting.
Yeah. Oh, I
And
know.
somehow people got away with that, you know?
Well, no, all the legislators were deer hunting too, so they have fully understood, you know, I mean, things have changed.
I know. My
anyway.
friends that are legislators have all been out hunting
Yeah,
for weeks on end.
yes. Well, you know what that really means, Kathy, is they're up at their camp drinking.
I was
That's
just gonna
what it
say, they're drinking and reading porno.
I don't know about the latter. Anyway,
Is this live?
it is live.
Hey,
Uh,
look, it's just an
So-
opinion. Opinion.
So on the 19th, January 19th, we'll take up the first 3 items. I'll invite Anthony. Hopefully he can make it. If not, we'll come up with a alternate plan.
Well, hopefully he can make it, and if not, we're gonna wonder why, because he is the town manager.
Yeah,
Where is
well,
he?
he does everything other than wash the floors, I think, but
I
and maybe he does that too. I don't know.
I don't know. I don't know. No, we leave that to Mary. Isn't that what Mary does?
No, I don't have time to do it.
And why don't we start there in January?
Okay,
I think that's great and not think too far ahead.
And the other thing too is there may be an opportunity here, and I wanted to broach the subject with you. I was telling Mary earlier, I tried to listen in on the select board meeting last night. Not last night because I couldn't, but today on YouTube. And the audio was such terrible quality that I gave up. But the one thing I did hear that I could hear was Bert Langette representing the Belgrade Lakes Association during the public comment period at the front of the meeting.
that was not the meeting last night. That was the meeting before.
Oh, okay.
So you were listening to, because I did not see that last night's meeting had been uploaded until
Oh,
it's
okay. Yeah, I was
uploaded.
off by a
You can't hear it,
week.
but I could not hear that one.
No, I
either.
couldn't.
And last night we had multiple people on Zoom and they could not hear. So it's a matter of, can you hear us fine, Kathy?
I can hear you fine, but you know something? Didn't we just pay to upgrade that 2 or 3 years ago?
So what do you mean upgrade?
All I can
The-
tell you is that
The Zoom?
no, the audio.
So the audio is now this little owl thing. Can you see this thing? I don't know if you, I don't think that you
Yeah.
can.
No, I
That's
think that's
where the
a bottle of
audio and
sanitizer.
picture, right, the audio and the picture is coming from that, but if you don't speak loudly, if you don't speak clearly and enunciate, and I noticed last night that there were a couple of select people that were not, and you cannot hear, people cannot hear what's going on, so it's very frustrating.
Well, Kathy, as you said earlier, commenting about being a dollar short, I'm a dollar short on this one because I'm off by a week, but
Yeah,
what I found interesting though was Bert was making the suggestion on part of the Lakes Association that and wanted to get on the agenda for a future select board meeting, probably in December, to discuss using some of the $500,000 or whatever dollars that the town's getting from COVID relief money
right,
for doing soil erosion control on town properties. He cited the town beach, the community center built property, Peninsula Park, maybe something else, and also to have the select board approach Inland Fish and Wildlife to ask them to repair the boat launch sites, soil erosion repairs. And I thought, geez, number one is town property, or at least.
I would
town
think so, yeah.
You know, town roads, and identify the segments with the greatest water quality impact. Maybe we should see if we could suggest that they take that up at the same time. And, you know, I wouldn't do that on my own unless the rest of you thought that was a good idea, because
so
as best of my knowledge, zero has happened on that.
that's the COVID money that's supposed to be coming in.
Yeah.
Right,
And I
and
think that there is a thought process of designating some of that, if not all of that money towards the water system,
Oh,
the salt
Okay.
contamination water system. So
Yeah.
just a FYI, so before.
well, and I know nothing about the grant process or the strings attached to that money, you know, I
Yeah.
mean, I've done more than my fair share of federal grant administration, but and they all come with beaucoup strings.
Right.
One that Bert mentioned was it has to be spent by the beginning of 2024, I think he said.
Yeah.
Yep.
And, you know, I don't know how that meshes with the timeline for the water system. So far, not a whole lot seems to have been happening, but
Well, it's going to be, there'll be something on this coming town warrant. So there's some
Well,
negotiation.
okay.
I think
But
that,
DOT or something like that.
Is Yeah, not finalized.
Right. Well,
I would also,
regardless,
I-
I mean, I could at least approach Anthony with the idea and see
Right.
what he thinks.
Yeah,
If the rest of you think that's
yeah,
appropriate.
I do.
okay, this is what I think. Number one, yes, that it's appropriate. And number two, I think that you can do some mitigation projects like along the town beach and along the town over at the Center for All Seasons for a minimal amount of money.
Yeah,
Because I
Yeah.
think that you're looking at increasing buffer zones, which essentially means planting plants. And you may be looking at, actually at the town beach, you probably don't need to add more rocks along the shoreline because there's plenty of those. And I actually have not looked at the shoreline along the Center for All Seasons. But basically, you know, those are the major mitigation projects that say the Conservation Corps does.
yeah. Well, and
And
both
it's
the towns, Peninsula Drive have already had at least one, if not two, projects by the Conservation Corps done there. And the problem is they never addressed the actual source of all the runoff. They just. threw
Well, I
down-
understand that, but I think, I'm just thinking about the shoreland. You know, if you're looking at shoreland zoning and buffer zones and things like that,
Yeah.
those are relatively inexpensive steps in the right direction.
I agree, Kathy, and I also, if they built, particularly at the town beach, and I only know about that because I go down there swimming in the summertime, is it wouldn't take much to divert the stormwater so that it doesn't
Right.
run
Right.
right down the
It's exactly
trail.
right. It's exactly right. But
Be a cheap fix.
Right. And with the plants, you know, once you plant the plant, you don't have to replant them every year, you know?
that's exactly right. You know, you,
Period of
I mean,
time.
even if you put in 20 blueberry bushes,
Yeah.
big deal. It's gonna cost you what, $10 a bush?
Vegetative buffer at the town beach is poison ivy. Got its own
Well-
problems, but it holds the soil awfully well.
You think so? I don't know. I've never really thought of it much as a good soil holder, but anyway,
Ground cover.
Yeah, it's
Okay,
more
well,
of a ground cover.
I'll just give Anthony an FYI about, you know, when that discussion happens, to give some thought to this. It may, the whole subject may not get any traction because of, as Mary said, maybe, you know, the money's really needed more for the real big capital expense of, well, yeah, capital and operation.
It'll be the operational.
Yeah,
Yeah.
of a public water system, if that should ever come off the ground, get off the ground. Okay, so that's the plan for the 19th. It may be, another agenda item would be, assuming that this meeting between us and, or between myself and Peter Rushton, Pat and Anthony happens, I might be able to report something on that. The email I got from Pat indicated that the goal is, or Anthony, I can't remember which now. The goal is to have the bigger meeting of the three committees and
Yeah.
whoever wants to attend from those committees. And the Seven Lakes Alliance and at least a couple lake associations in late January. Whether that's feasible or not, I have no idea. There's a lot going on in January.
Yeah.
I know,
It might work out.
but, you know, I mean, Anthony's, we'll have to rely on Anthony to make that determination, but, so maybe that'll be a second agenda item for that meeting.
I'll be able to hear you. I'm just gonna turn my video off for a bit.
Okay,
Yeah, no, I'm not saying anything anyway, Kathy.
no,
Is there any more that we should be discussing with regard to this table?
I don't know. It's not just water related, it's like land and lakes. I feel like when we developed the Lakes Association, it should have been a Lakes and Land Committee. You know, more along the line of a conservation committee, because one goes hand in hand with the other, and this crosses lines all over the place between, you know, water and land, and I did mention that to Pat as well, just, was it last week? He was looking for some information, and it makes sense, because you have the lakes, but the land is so closely related. A Lakes and Land Committee would have been perfect and would have followed the comprehensive plan, or basically a conservation committee.
Right.
So can
Something to consider for the future, I guess. Whether.
you hear me?
Yeah, we
Yes,
can hear you.
Kathy.
Okay. When I was on the select board, we voted that Lakes Committee in. It was
Right.
with a great deal of consternation on the
Right.
part of two select board members that really did not want another town committee. So it was a matter of knowing that in my mind, the ultimate goal would be to have a conservation committee. The Lakes Committee was a way of getting our toe in the door.
Right,
Okay. So I have no doubt in my mind that as we move forward with a comprehensive plan, and perhaps at the next update with the select board, with a different group of people on the select board, that we may very well have an opportunity to expand it to a land and lakes committee.
yeah, because they go hand in hand, and it just makes sense.
Well,
Um,
land and lakes certainly means conservation.
Yes,
And then the next step would be to, and always in my mind was that the next step would be to create a fund, a conservation fund for the town, so that there would be money to help us acquire land along with the Seven Lakes Alliance.
yeah,
Because there are people that will give land to the town, but they won't give it to the Seven Lakes Alliance.
right.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
my short story, Mary.
Okay, well, thank you for that. Yeah, it makes sense, and I'm not sure that the individuals on the board were against another committee. I think it was the moorings ordinance itself that created issues.
Well, it started there and then it just sort
I
of
know,
expanded.
Yeah, it
People
did.
are reluctant to try to separate what the issues are.
yeah, I agree.
Well,
Yeah,
certainly,
that was-
as you noted, Mary, the recommendations of the comprehensive plan, and including the ones that we've, identified here, the 15 that we've identified here, are, it's all about preventing phosphorus and stormwater from reaching the lakes
Right,
from the activities on
on the
land
land, I know.
throughout the
That's why I
watershed.
looked through this and I'm just like, okay, it's all land and lakes. It's not just lakes and.
Yeah.
Yep,
Yeah.
no, it's
One
true.
of my frustrations over the years is, with Seven Lakes Alliance and the Lake Associations has been the myopic focus only on the shoreland zone.
Yeah.
And that's changing, I believe, but
I think so too. Well, they talked about literal zone, literal zone, literal zone. And,
Yeah, oh, there's a
it's
lot to
not
be
just-
said for, and if you want to make, particularly in a town like Belgrade, if you want to have any success, you have to do things incrementally
Right,
Yep.
and very slowly,
right. Baby steps.
baby steps. Yeah.
The fastest horses out of the gate don't last long, right?
It's absolutely true. This is I guess it's sort of a long-term commitment, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, in some respects, water quality is sort of like climate change, you know? If you don't make enough progress fast enough, though, the problem's gonna overwhelm you.
Yes, yes. Well, and aren't we lucky here in the Belgrade Lakes to have more than one organization working on it?
I know. I know.
Yeah, no, that's true. That's very true. There's a lot of towns that probably are envious. Well, not just Belgrade, but I don't, you know, one of the recommendations here has to do with coordination with other towns and I think Denny Ketchel, had some discussions in the context of a water quality district or a lakes district,
Right,
management district, but beyond that, I don't know. I mean, I certainly know that the planning board has no communication with the other town planning boards, for example.
yeah.
I
But the
mean, I
work
have
that,
no idea what Oakland's doing.
yeah,
Rumor mill is all I know about Rome. And I know nothing about what goes on in Mount Vernon. Hear a little now and bits and pieces now and again about activity on North Pond and Smithfield. Of course, they got a serious water quality problem there
yeah, they do.
and have had for a
A
long
long
time.
time.
But what proactive or what measures they're taking to address all that, I don't know. Periodically,
Well,
in the course of looking at, discussing ordinance upgrades, I've gone to those other towns. Not the small ones so much because they don't have anything on their websites, but I've gone to Sydney and Oakland to see what they have for ordinances. And Sydney actually has some pretty good ordinances. I guess the problem is they don't implement them. And Oakland, I don't know what they have for ordinances because there's nothing on their
There's
website.
nothing
It's a bunch of
listed.
advertising. That's it.
Yeah.
It's bizarre.
Yeah,
I mean, our website hands down is the best of any of those communities
Yeah.
by orders of magnitude in terms of providing information to the public.
right.
well, that's because we have a communications expert who is our town manager.
Yeah, all for the better.
Yep.
But my only point being that I'm not aware that there's been any kind of cross fertilization or discussion of ideas, or I
Right.
don't even know what the commitment of some of those other towns are to protecting the water quality of the Belgrade Lakes.
May I make a suggestion?
Always.
I'd like to see you stop me. That's okay. This is what I think. After having watched the climate summit and parts of it in Glasgow over the last month, I think we should consider sponsoring a water quality summit in the watershed and invite all the towns, however wish they, I'm just sort of running it through my head as we're sitting here because we've needed to do that for years, ever since. I mean, I've lived in this community for 45 years. And in the last 20 years, I have recognized the need for all of us to get together and talk about water quality. So I'm willing sometime within the next year to help put together and organize a water quality summit. in which we would invite all of the watershed towns to come together to develop some, even if it's only 1 or 2 goals for the area over the next 5 to 7 years.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea, Kathy.
Yeah, no, I do too.
Is that the plan with Pat and you and Anthony?
It's a beginning. That's a beginning.
Is that similar though? Is
It's-
'cause
Well,
they're-
it doesn't
I mean,
include the
Kathy-
town governments.
Yeah,
Okay,
so what Kathy's describing is sort of like the ramping it up to the next level. What we're talking about is discussions, coordinating discussions within the town of Belgrade itself and town government itself, because that's not happening either.
no, because everybody's kind of doing
The
their own
only,
thing.
the only things that I've seen personally of sort of a coordination has been one here, because Pat happens to be on our committee. And secondly, Pat's committee, the Lakes Committee, has invited different people to speak to them. Sort of fact finding. And they invited me, not as chair of this committee. But I had actually suggested they invite Peter Rushton if they had, because they asked me a lot of questions about what's going on in terms of
Yeah.
ordinances and I could answer them. That wasn't the problem. I just thought it would have been more appropriate if Peter had been there too.
Yeah.
But anyway, be that as it may, that's the only coordination I've seen. I don't know what
Okay.
happens at the select board meetings, if there's any coordination at that level, but and then of course at Anthony's level, there's coordination because he's sort of at the center of the hub of.
Well, I would also,
But your suggestion's a good one, Kathy.
Yeah, it is.
well, and I think that, yeah, I don't doubt that. I think that it's really what needs to happen. But I also think that it's a matter of when you invite one town to come, it encourages another town to come, and then another town to come. And what happens at say, a huge international summit like the Glasgow Summit is that they look around and try to figure out what countries are not there. And so I think that when you do it on a larger scale like that, that it sort of encourages more people to get their tail in motion and at least show up at the meeting. Because let's say Sydney's there and they want to make sure that maybe Oakland's there as well. And are you following where I'm coming from?
Yeah, no, definitely.
I think there's a certain amount of peer pressure that occurs between towns to see who's doing better and who's doing more and who's doing what and who's not doing what. And if you're not at the meeting, you may miss some information. And I would do it with an idea in mind towards that there was a great deal of publicity leading up to it and a lot of publicity about decisions and agreements that were made at the meeting. Now, having said that, some of you may know that the Maine Lakes Association that Maggie Shannon ran for many years used to sponsor I don't know if they did last year or not, but they used to sponsor a meeting at Colby every year. And it was a water quality meeting. And water quality people came from all over the state. They included speakers from the DEP and various and sundry other lake associations. And there was a lot of information that was exchanged. So I think there's value in doing something
Yeah.
like that. I certainly would not want to do a statewide deal. But I would be more than happy to help coordinate, put together, organize a regional meeting around water quality.
Kathy, you probably have more insight certainly than I do about this. What efforts along those lines or reaching out to the various watershed towns has Seven Lakes Alliance done? I mean,
Oh,
I
I
know.
think
Go
they
ahead.
have worked primarily through the lake associations and for political reasons, okay? And I'm one of those politics be damned kind of people, but they are much more cautious politically to not step on one another's toes. But
Okay,
I
so-
would invite, I would
So-
certainly invite representatives from the lake associations, but I wouldn't eliminate, ordinary citizens that are also interested in water quality that may not belong to a lake association.
As you know, the long time criticism of the lake associations and BRCA and Seven Lakes Alliance has been that they only talk amongst themselves and they don't
Well,
engage
I think for the
broader
most part, that's true.
population, the broader population of voters and the broader landowner base. And so, the focus of anything along the lines you're describing really has to be well beyond the shorefront landowners. In fact, they should be secondary, really talking about the political base of the various communities. And those are the people that live here year round and vote.
Yes, and I think that you cannot change their point of view unless you educate them.
Right.
And, you get them together and you feed them.
I learned that lesson the hard way. I once had a meeting in Van Buren. And we were meeting with, as a representative of DEP, we were meeting with representatives of the fire department and their two-person police department. And we were trying to convince them to do some work for us, which we would pay them. And it was held on a night that was like 25 below zero in the middle of winter. And so I go trundling up there in my little state car and get to the meeting and, I'm trying to get the meeting going and nobody would sit down or anything. And a guy came up to me and said, "Where are the donuts?" I had to run out and get donuts and then we could start the friggin' meeting.
Yes, no, it's true. You bring people
Brings
together
people together.
and
Yeah.
you feed them and
Yeah.
set them down and then you educate them.
Yeah.
That's the deal. There are certain best practices and one of them is food.
So George, the next meeting in January,
Yeah.
you'll bring the donuts, is that on record?
Don't hold me to it, Michael. All right, why don't we wrap this up? It's almost 7. We'll meet on the 19th. I'll invite Anthony to discuss items 1, 2, and 3. I'll mention to Anthony the idea of, if money's gonna be appropriated from any federal grants related to COVID, to possibly consider funding the inventory of town roads with the greatest water quality impact and develop a remediation plan for those. And maybe at the 19th, we'll also have an update on the 3-committee, the concept of a 3-committee meeting, kind of get the town's act together.
Okay,
Okay.
sounds
I
good.
will also send to you, if I've got everybody's email, I will send to you the latest information that I have on the county grants from the ARPA money. Okay,
Okay.
which is the COVID money.
Okay,
Okay,
all right, thank you.
Sounds
because
good.
that's the kind of infrastructure money that you're talking about.
Yeah,
Okay,
Well, thank you all.
Okay.
All
see
right.
you all.
Good evening,
Have a good
everybody.
Thanksgiving.
Yeah, don't eat too much
Guys.
turkey.
Thank you.
Try not to.
Thank you,
Bye-bye.
Michael.
Bye.
We all set. You all set, Mary?
It's gonna shut this off, I think.
Michael, you gonna be doing a travel into California